Hi, good morning, professor and classmates, and I hope you're fine and I hope you're taking care of this virus. I'm gonna try to do my best with this technology. I'm using my cell phone and my headphones. So let's start. Welcome to the course Compare Linguistics. The professor is Alan Castro. This presentation will be about language and inner language, and the students are Brian Roman, my person, and Jennifer Varela. Let's start. The first topic is language. What is language? According to the book, the language is a system where the sound has a meaning. As you know, we can take a sound and we can have a meaning. Also, we can combine those sounds and create a sentence, and also we're going to have a meaning. Also, the language could be divided into 6 different subsystems or components. The first is phonology, which is the speech sounds and rules governing them. Then we have morphology, which is inflection and derivation of words. Also, we have syntax, which is the word order and sentence construction. Also, we have lexicon, that is the vocabulary, semantics, which is the meaning of the words and the sentences, and pragmatics, that is the background or socio-cultural context that has an influence in the language. Also, we can consider the orthography as a 7th component or subsystem of the language. Then we have the second subtopic, which is the lex. We have different words like dialects, geolects, social lex, gender lex, or idilex. But lex means variations or changes in the subsystems or components. So, according to that, dialects or geolects are the variations according to the region. Then we have the social lex, that are the variations according to the social groups. Also, we have gender lex, that are the variations by the sexual differences. And the idilex, which is the unique mode of expression of each individual. So you, me, the professor, all we have a different and unique mode of expression, right? Then we have the linguistic, which is the course that we're taking. Linguistics means, or linguistics is the study of language, and it has several branches. Those are 3: theoretical linguistics, descriptive linguistics, and applied linguistics. In the case of theoretical linguistics, it is the nature of components against the background of a language. Then descriptive linguistics is how one or more components operate in a particular language. And then we have applied linguistics, where all these concepts are applied, and this means that applies theoretical and descriptive linguistics in a specific area. For example, translation, interpretation, or teaching, right? Then we have comparing and contrasting languages. According to the book, there is a specific tool or method to compare and contrast languages. First, this is called contrastive analysis, and this is a method used to compare languages such as English and Spanish. And the analysis, it is just a description of both languages. For example, similarities, differences, and interactions between both languages. Which languages? We have the source language or the native language, and also we have the target language or the language that we are learning. In our case, the Spanish will be our source language and the English will be our target language, right? Then we have correspondences between languages, and this is the features that match between language A or source language and language B, which is the target language. So those features are universal languages, that those are the same verbs, nouns, pronouns. So all the languages follow that structure: subject, the verb, and complement, right? Then we have the common ancestors, that this is the different languages come from the same ancestor. For example, Spanish and English come from Proto-Indo-European, right? Also, we have the third characteristic, which is the linguistic and cultural cross-fertilization. That means the exchange of some words and sounds. For example, the CH, the ch sound. Also, the word hobby, which means pasatiempo in Spanish. Then that is a word took from the English, right?
Also, it's important to determine how a unit works in its own system, because some linguistics have explained that the value or function of a unit must be determined in terms of the role it plays within its own system. So, for example, just because you see that two words look alike, it doesn't mean that they mean the same thing. For example, está lloviendo means the same that it's raining. So, as you can see, they look alike, but it's not always the case. So, if you say, is it raining, means the same that llueve. However, they don't look alike. Also, assigning priorities on the basis of the functional load. Some distinctions have a larger communicative weight than others, which means that sometimes they are more fundamental and even indispensable. So, what it means is that even though two different languages may share a distinction, they have different functional loads. For example, um, mood contrasts are possible in both languages, English and Spanish, but the functional load of the English subjunctive is vanishing. On the other hand, the Spanish subjunctive contrasts are sharply and can be avoided. Now, how should we deal with variation? Well, some grammarians treat variance by imposing a ruling for correct usage. So they say, okay, use X here and Y there, because otherwise it's improper. So rather than describing such a ruling, linguistics prefer to describe the actual rules that native speakers apply to their communication on their daily basis. So, of course, they would sound more natural. And for example, you can see that sometimes you can find in outdated books that some teachers say to their students, you should memorize all these rules, and then these students find out that actually native speakers don't use those rules. So that's why it's important to um, consider communicative exchange from native speakers. Now, it's important to pay attention to errors because we need to understand the process in L2 acquisition. And also, it gives us the opportunity to pinpoint errors due to the interference from L1. Now, here you can see interlanguage and source of problems. And the first one is different learners show different degrees and types of transfer. Also, many errors have an interlingual origin within L2 rather than an interlingual one, the L1. Also, instead of projecting L1 pattern onto L2, students may just avoid alien L1 items. Number 4, there is mislearning, which means that some students get confused because they see that the two words look alike and they think that they mean the same, and actually it's the opposite. And finally, learners from all languages backgrounds show certain similarities in developmental stages they pass through in acquiring a different item. And here you can see that there are some limits of linguistics in language teaching. The first one is that you cannot pretend that linguistics have the answer to your questions. Because, yeah, of course, linguistics can help you to understand some issues regarding English teaching. However, it doesn't mean that linguistics have all the answers. Also, it doesn't contribute in other issues like theories of education and methods for stimulating students' interest. And finally, the methodology of foreign language teaching is complemented by linguistics, not replaced by it.